Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming into another video. All right, so spent some time praying tonight to make sure that my spirit was right in regards to all the different things I've been thinking about. Obviously, I had my therapy session today, and the therapist had me thinking about the reality of my circumstances and just how rare it is to be as self-aware as I am with the struggles that I have. And that was part of something that was really on my heart tonight, just making sure that I'm not looking at things the wrong way in regards to my healing for all the different things that I've gone through in my life. Making sure I'm not frustrated about things that are not supposed to be thought about. You know what I mean? Just trying to make sure my spirit is in the right space. And of course, what I had been kind of centering my sadness around was my friend's absence. And I prayed a lot about her tonight, and God just kind of gave me the understanding that everything's going to be all right in regards to that. And He put it in my heart to send her a text, and she actually responded. You know what I mean? And so that made me feel a lot better. At least I know that she's okay. And, you know what I mean? Everything's fine there. Or at least, she's able to be responsive. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it's about. But, that's it, man. Sometimes you just want more from people than they can give you, and you want to know why they can't. And then you start looking back and wondering if you've been looking at things the wrong way the whole time. And I don't know. I really don't know, man. But I just try to make sure that my spirit's in the right place and not putting up energy that ain't no good, man. But I think the prayers really help when you connect with God and then try to approach circumstances. It works out better for us believers, man. It really does. As opposed to trying to understand things within my own thoughts, leaning on my own understanding, which is something that in my walk of faith I've learned is something that we as believers probably are not best for doing, because a lot of times we'll go to a pessimistic place or try to fill in blanks, as I often do with my imagination, and it just turns you into a bitter human being when you start trying to fill in blanks. You don't necessarily fill them in with positivity. You fill them in with whatever it is that your mind will let you run with. And so I just know that that's how it is sometimes. You got to train yourself away from that. But when you let God in, He'll filter out all those bad thoughts and leave you with peace, leave you with accountability, leave you with just the silence necessary to kind of absorb what is worth holding on to and what is not. And sure enough, after all that prayer, He gave me the strength, or I guess strength, but gave me the, I don't want to call it strength. I think it's more like a head nod, like, yeah, the go ahead to just reach out on my own tonight with a text. It's 11 o'clock. And I just, I said, hey, I know it's late and I don't expect you to respond, but I just want you to know that, I'm praying for you, and, and that kind of thing. So that's what it's about, man. Just making sure I filter out all my thoughts and my feelings through the Lord, and Him just helping me, man, comforting me, giving me a clarity of mind to not try to fill in those blanks on my own, man. Especially when I really can't do much good in her life other than what it is that I ultimately did tonight, which is shoot her a text and let her know I'm supportive. So that's what our friendship is based on, man. Support for one another's differences, for one another's pain. And when it comes to my friend Kay, I just sense so much of it with her a lot of times, even before certain things happen that have been transpired. I'm talking about way back when I first met her. It was just a longing, not a longing, but just like a distant kind of thing that I sensed in her that I related to. And sometimes when you meet people just like you, or who have traits like yours that you can connect with, sometimes you are able to realize how difficult you are to deal with. And I think that's what I've learned. It's not that she's difficult to deal with, it's she's difficult to live without. People give you so much when they're next to you, and then they have circumstances where they have to leave you alone or leave your life, and you just are left with a certain type of void. And she has that quality when it comes to myself for whatever reason. And you guys hear me talk about her so much. I got people in my life that I reach out to that reach out to me even more so. But for whatever reason, this is a different thing with this particular person that I've connected with in this life. And no matter how many days that we don't spend speaking with one another, it seems like the ones that we do are just so impactful for me. I think it's harmful when you allow your feelings to be more so than what it is that your interactions have provided. When you want it to be something more than it is, or you have ideas about what you hope it will become, but no path or plan. A lot of what I do in my life doesn't have a plan, which is why I'm always in the spaces I'm in, because I'm not a very efficient planner as a man. It's not a good thing, but it's just who I am. I don't plan. I fall into what I'm going to do by way of a whim a lot of times. Or I'll pray about something, do it that way. Or if it feels right, I'll move that way. And it doesn't really work, especially if you're trying to have somebody else attached to you in any way. So it doesn't usually happen for me like that. I spend a good majority of my life single because of it. No plans. I think at the end of the day, what I hope the Lord would help me understand is just how to cope a bit better going forward with the reality of how my friendship's supposed to be, as opposed to how I've made it in my head, or what I hope it'll become based on just sheer hope, I guess you could say. I don't really have no idea how to word it, but I just want the Lord to liberate me from anything that keeps me bound, even if it's people that I care about, and a mentality about things being different, even if it is something like that. I just don't want to be bound by that no more. I understand and fully am aware of both my limitations mentally and my strengths mentally, which are all over the place. Sometimes it's easy for me to forget that I'm not normal as it pertains to having no plans, or having certain things not fall in line, or just the interactions that I have with people. As I told you a little earlier in one of my videos, I'm used to being distant by nature. And the way I grew up, wasn't having a whole lot of people on the block with us. It wasn't like I grew up in a neighborhood with a bunch of kids, or a hood, so to speak. It wasn't like that for this person. I grew up in a neighborhood where people didn't know each other at all. You'd have somebody live in the back house behind you, down the hall, and you barely say 3 words to them in 5 years. So that's the world I'm from, And since we lived in the little apartment that we did, and the fact of the matter was, my mom was from Frisco, so a lot of her close friends, a lot of people she was close to, they weren't down here. And the people that she did visit, the people that were good friends of hers, she'd go to their house. We would go visit them. They wouldn't really come visit us. So I just kind of grew up a little different, kind of a kid with imaginary friends and stuff like that. Even in school, I'd spend my time alone a lot of times. While the kids were playing basketball with one another, I would be sitting up next to the tetherball court talking to my imaginary friends. I was always different, always a little off, like truly. And so as I live my life trying to interact with people who are not different at all, I've been blessed enough to incorporate myself into the equation comfortably with a lot of people. Kind of fit in the way I felt like I fit in, and limit those interactions so that people didn't realize how different I was at times. And you grow up that way, and there was times also where, of course, as I've told you guys, I was at a place called the Children's Club that allowed me to get all of my social norms together, getting used to being around a lot of kids, getting in this classroom like atmosphere, hanging out, having close buddies, and everybody clicks and stuff like that. So I was able to gain some normality in that way. My adolescence and later childhood. With the early childhood, like 6, 7, and then that it's like imaginary friends and kind of being alone, me and mommy, that kind of thing. When you grow up, and it's still like that, you still spend most of your time by yourself. I'm speaking of my own point of view, but when you grow up, become a man, and you just have certain norms about yourself that make it so that you have both a comfort in the presence of others and a comfort being absolutely alone. That's kind of how I am, And I realize I awaken to my reality today and just realize I have spent so much time alone that I don't really have normal habits as it pertains to, like, let me go hang out with some people right now. Let me go to, go out to a bar or something at a late night hour, or have somebody come over and visit me. I'm so worked into what it is I'm used to now I don't have normal traits. I found myself sitting in this hotel room just looking around saying I don't have nothing to do, and I got so much that I need to do, but I'm not equipped mentally to really approach those circumstances from a mature standpoint to say, let me look for another hotel room because I'm going to have to go somewhere. Let me try to get myself worked into the Uber program because I need to drive. Let me just do something normal, like call somebody. I just don't have those habits for whatever reason. I awaken myself to being abnormal, I think. And I couple that, as my self-awareness will allow it to be, I couple that with the struggles that I have mentally. And I realize those struggles often have to do with both conditioning and what I consider a mental block that may have come about during traumatic moments in my life or something. It's a combination of both. And that's what I've come to awaken to today, and I might have mentioned that in an earlier video as well. It's like that my mind is used to certain things. Even if I wasn't quote unquote mentally ill, there's still norms about myself that are not normal at all. Social norms of having people visit you and having siblings in the house and just talking to people regularly and always having others around. I often hear of people who are lonely, and I don't know that I even feel that trait. I don't know what that really feels like because I'm most comfortable by myself and always have been. I have my most fun times alone, or my most comfortable times in my own skin alone. And some of the times that I spent in the presence of others were not that at all. Having situations where being in the presence of others, I'm just reminded why I don't want to be. And when you find yourself wanting to be close to somebody else and you're like this, you realize it's very difficult to work anybody into your equation because you don't have those normal rhythms of what should be in regards to others. They have rules here in this hotel that you don't have any visitors past 11 o'clock. You never have to worry about me even breaking that rule because I ain't gonna never have no visitors, period. And then because I don't have people that love me that wouldn't come to visit, it's just that I never even worked that into my equation. They don't visit me at all because I never invite anybody over to my crib, ever. And I spent that whole time in Lenox. I don't think I had company over there 3 times. There for like 11 years, 10 years, however long it was. It's just, I just waking up to realize I just don't know how I would even incorporate Karen into my life. To start anything normal, I don't even know how to do that. So everything that I would otherwise want in terms of normalcy don't even exist. So to want somebody to be into my life or miss somebody is so skewed by the fact that there's nobody here in the first place. Everything about my relationship, friendships, have been skewed by the fact that they don't really have too much interaction in person. Even my ex, when I was 25 years old, the one that I struggled with, we only saw each other in certain situations. Otherwise, most of the time we were talking on the phone or messing around on the computer to talk, that way. Messenger, whatever it was called back then, playing games online. That's how we used to kind of interact. and we see each other when we meet up at her job or that kind of thing. It's like it's no normalcy in the rhythm of having people in my life. There's no normalcy in regards to just hanging out, talking to people. You know what I mean? Like even here, you would think I just stand outside, just talk to some people, hang out. Man, I'm so quick to high and by, and it's so normal to me. And I realize that's not normal to others. People be in the mix with other people, manipulating or whatever people do, good and bad. And I don't even have those thoughts. I quick to come to my own shell, and I stay here like a turtle or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just what it's always been, and that's what it feels like it's supposed to be. And then I look around and I realize that's not what people do. When I want somebody who's social in my life, who has a lot of friends and stuff like that, I don't know how to incorporate myself into that rhythm. I never lived like that. When I hang out with my friends, during my 20s, it was a little more normalcy. Go out on weekends. Sometimes in the summertime, we go out on the weekdays, get drunk, get high, hang out. Sometimes people come over. It's a lot of normalcy during my 20s. That's when I can honestly say I got a good handful of years where I got to really see how it feels to kind of just be regular in that way. But as I look back on my life over the last 10 years, it disappeared again. After my mother passed away, it really disappeared. Everything that was normal to me, it just stopped. Including dating life, all that stuff. It just, as soon as I got to Linux, it was like it was over. It was like my whole 30s was swallowed up by the mourning of my mother and then the sacrifice of trying to be an AMC. First half of it was mourning mom, second half of it was AMC. And none of it had anything to do with normalcy. Work, come home, smoke, play video games until I stopped playing video games, and it was work, come home, do my channel until I learned other things to do for myself, till I developed the art and all that. But my life ain't really been all that normal as it pertains to being social. So when I try to incorporate anybody else, or I start thinking about how I wish a friend was around, what does around actually mean? What does that actually mean to this person? That means they ain't text me in a couple days. That's exactly what that means. I don't know if I'm unhappy with this necessarily, because it's just like anything else. When you're going through difficult times, you don't actually feel like you're going through difficult times. They're just the days that you're in. You listen to people talk about when they used to be broke, who've now gone on to be rich. When they look back on being broke, it was like, a lot of times I listen to certain people, it didn't seem like we was that broke. It was just how it was. I equate it to that. It's like, I don't feel like it's weird. It's just how it is. But as I realize that I'm struggling with my mental health, I think part of it is that for which is normal to me. It's not normal at all. I tell you, man, I was so happy to see my friend respond to me after having hours of praying and assessing certain things about the friendship and how normal it is for us to disappear on one another, or how normal it is to not see one another for so long. And then I wonder, am I tripping? Does she even see me in the way that I see her? Have I always looked at this the wrong way? Should I have even had those attachments to begin with based on such limited interaction? I really honestly don't think so when I assess it deeply. I don't think she has it wrong when she doesn't speak to me for a couple of days or whatever. I really don't. I just think what it is that I'm used to makes it feel like something isn't right. Truth of the matter is, I don't think we've been on one real date at all. In fact, I know we haven't. So what is it that I'm holding on to? And then I find appreciation in how she never tries to make me something I'm not. She never tries to tell me, hey, yo, you're a little different, dude, or nothing ever. And so I feel guilty for not being able to just go with the flow without any static on my end. But there's no real static that I bring to her. It's just the wars that I have within. And I usually win those battles. So I never end up bringing her to nonsense other than to say I struggled. But that's what it is, you know. I struggle with what normalcy is as it pertains to my friend Mary. What is it even? How do I even get started in making something normal when I don't even know how to be normal to begin with as it pertains to my social ways? I think one of the things that I was asking the Lord to do is just help me stop this point of view. Stop longing for something that I don't even have a proper view on. Stop trying to make it seem to myself that something is going a different way when this is how it is. Stop wanting more from somebody who never gave more than what she gives, you know? I don't know that I long for normalcy because I don't know if I like what comes with it. I often hear about people being in social situations and then people let them down. Or people steal from them. Or getting caught up in situations and it becomes about money. I've been fortunate enough to avoid a lot of that because of my abnormal ways of social stuff. I stayed away from a lot of those experiences that y'all suffer from that make y'all pessimistic about people, which is why I find myself being quote unquote genuinely nice in the presence of others, because I keep those interactions far and in between. I don't allow people to get close enough to do those things. But just the same, I find myself almost 40 years old without a family, no kids, no normal dating routine, no normal date, love life in that way, nothing normal that anybody would ever be able to pinpoint and say, that dude, he's got it together. Far from. I just write it off as me being not well, so I don't control that, I guess you could say. If I had more social habits or a better hold on my life or playing better, maybe that would be something that would allow for that kind of stuff to fall in place. I guess I want the Lord to stop allowing me to have such unreal expectations for my friend Kay. Stop wanting more from her than what it is that I've ever received, ever given. Stop demanding that the Lord make me heal from pains that shouldn't even be in place in the first place. As I told y'all earlier, what I want from my friend is normalcy. To not have to be attached to somebody who has so much going them wrong. And in that same breath, I find myself attached. It's sad because at the end of the day, I really do want normalcy in that way. But what comes with it, I don't know the first thing about. This is why I'm the way I am. Turning on the camera, talking about all of my stuff that I talk about and all this. You ain't gonna find too many people like me, because you're not gonna find too many people who are used to what I'm used to. I guess that's why I'm wired the way I am. I guess that's what makes me able to do stuff that I don't see others doing. Doing it exactly the way I do it, It's because of who I've been the whole time. That you probably ain't never met nobody like me. I don't know that I've met anybody like me. Which is why when I found my friend Kay having traits like me, I was so drawn to her. You know what I really hate about this? That I know how much pain she's in for what she's gone through lately. I pride myself on not talking about people's business, and I don't even remember how much I've talked to you guys about, but with her losing her brother, it was hard for her, and she's still struggling with the loss of friends around that situation. I tell her death is not following you. It's not. And I want her to believe that. But I know she's lost a lot of people, man. It's a lot of death. But what we've done for one another is breathe life into one another by way of our text, by way of our conversations when we do speak. It's all about living. It's all about God. It's all about speaking breath into one another and encouragement. You can do it. And I'd send her progress of myself when I'm working out. She would tell me, "You look great, keep going," that kind of thing. It's just a supportive type of energy. But I need to do more. Not to say that I need to incorporate myself into her life more, but maybe pray more, Pray harder for her. Pray more often for her healing, Pray more often for my healing in regards to her, so that my energy can be better. So that I'm not warring with myself on her behalf, alone in what seems to be abnormal to others, but what is normal to me. And then I think about myself talking about I want to quit. How I'm so sick of living the way that I've been living, and sometimes I just want to get up out of here, And I think about not only her, but everybody else who loves me, and how I would be leaving them with yet something else to have to mourn over, Be another dead person in their life. They don't deserve that from me. She told me she didn't want me to quit. Last time I spoke with her before tonight, it was one of the last things she had said was, "I don't want you to quit." But I tell you, man, with what I'm used to, what's normal to me, it gets to a point where you don't want to do this. When I described to you over the last 27 minutes, the path forward like that as you get older, I don't have no imaginary friends, Not now. I don't have the ability to just kind of sit in the corner and be okay with myself as I struggle with what it is I'm going through. You want to kind of work some normalcy into your life. But you can't wake up and want your relationships and your friendships to change just because you decide for the first time you want things to change in your life. You expect people to kind of just like, all right, let's jump to it. What does that even mean? Her friendship and my friendship together is good enough. It's good enough for her, and it's good enough for who I've been. We share encouragement and keep each other going when we do speak, and when we disappear from one another, we often don't argue about it at all. We don't argue about it ever, really. It's an understanding. As I told you guys, I want something different now, though. I want a little more closeness, some interactions. I want that whole not dating thing, the whole not having a love life thing to completely change now. I'm tired of being like this. I don't like how it feels anymore. I don't know what to do with that feeling, I don't know what to do with that. When I've been living like this the whole time, I don't know what the hell to do with that. I guess it's the prayers for. The person I was comfortable with the way things were. The person I'm becoming, not so much. And then I try to fathom myself being okay without Kay. Maybe finding somebody different in my life that would meet that. and it just doesn't, in my mind, it don't manifest into anything really. As I think about it, it's like, all right, what does that look like? What do I do? Get up, go outside, try to talk to somebody. What does that even look like? I have no idea. I think what I'm trying to say is, I'm hoping the Lord can open some doors for me. Maybe make it so that I communicate better with my friend Kay, so that I can have some closure in regards to what has to happen next, in order for me not to be wanting more from her or asking for her to do things that we haven't asked each other to do or stuff like that. But I don't want to feel like I've been feeling these last couple of days. I really don't ever want to go through that again. Not to say that she's done anything at all that we haven't discussed would be fine, but it's just, I'm changing. I want her closer. If we're gonna go forward in any other way, I want it to be some actual seeing your face, coming around, and me vice versa, making sure I show up if that's what it's going to be comfortable. I don't want it to just be texting in the phone or weeks at a time we don't talk. I don't find myself happy with that anymore. I don't think I really was happy with that. I was just in a space where I was stuck, never leaving the house, not even wanting to walk down the street. That's how deep my isolation was. So of course, text friendships were good enough. You could fall in love over text because you never had nobody there in the first place. But I'm in a space where I don't. I'm empty in regards to that. It's a void there. It's an emptiness that I've been feeling these last couple of days that I've had to pray very hard to overcome. And while I have more things to consider that are much more important than that, because of the way I'm wired, I didn't care about none of those things. And I have to be honest about that. Stuff that has to do with me living in where I'm gonna be next week, or the week after next rather. Car, and getting involved in a job and all this stuff. It was secondary. I didn't care about none of that. These last 2 days, I was just thinking about her, and that was it. And why she hadn't been talking to me when I needed her to be here, at least in the text form, It's God's honest truth. Prioritizing things absolutely backwards. But what I come to understand is that half of what made it so that was the case is my faith. I've seen the Lord work so many miracles in regards to where I'm going to live, in regards to how things have gone, people helping me and stuff like that. I don't know that I'm taking it for granted or just leaning in on that faith and just letting God handle it. And just as it says somewhere in the Bible, the Lord takes care of the birds. He takes care of all these different animals that don't have the ability to really do for themselves without the presence of certain things falling in place for them to be okay, and yet they are. So to not worry, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's the message in the Bible that I've read many times. God takes care of all that. So I think I took that literally in my own little crazy way. So even though I have dire circumstances that I must adhere to, I just kind of feel like the Lord's going to make a way in regards to those things. But when it comes to this particular subject, for whatever reason, that ain't the way it goes. I try to grab a hold of an understanding of where, I got to have answers. I got to, all that type of stuff. And I war with that. And it seems like when it comes to this particular lady, that's always the thing with me. It's me trying to fight them inner battles of filling in the blanks for miscommunications or no communication. Consistency, the texts that come in the mornings, reach out, and then all of a sudden, silence. I ain't trying to figure out why that is. If it's something I did wrong, most of the time, she makes me understand that it ain't me. But she also helps me understand that sometimes she wants to disappear without communicating why. That's her life. That's what's normal to her. That's how she has to do whatever it is And because I don't ask questions, I don't know what's going on. And I feel like sometimes if I get the answers to those questions, it'll probably make me feel worse. That's what I always end up dealing with. Too much of my mental health is attached to her and how she's doing, how we're interacting. I can honestly say I don't even follow her on IG because I honestly don't want to see certain things that she may have going on that may hurt my feelings. That's how bad that is. And I've discussed that with her. I don't know if I've ever said that on camera. I probably have, but it's the truth. I once saw a post with her hanging out with somebody else and knew that it wasn't good for me to follow her anymore. It's the truth. And with that being the case, how healthy could that be? That's not healthy, right? That's what it is, though. And you have the feelings that I have for somebody, but you know you don't provide the normalcy that otherwise they could find in their real life. You just gotta let them have that real life without asking too many questions. You don't want to know. That's how it's been. And how weird that is. She accepts that within me. She protects me in a way by not really saying too much. And that should not be okay for me. But it absolutely is. I find it to be grace because I know I'm not filling in the blanks in her life. It's not like I'm there. So it's like, of course, she should do whatever she feels. She's not in a relationship with me. We're not tied that way. But as long as I'm away, I can tell myself whatever I want to tell myself in regards to how we are. And through our interactions, I know that our friendship is strong and it's tight. And it could be built into something else because the attraction is there. The affection is there. But it's not built on anything normal, substantial. Nothing that you would say is a normal way that two people would interact, which is why I always refer to her as my friend, because that's exactly what it is. I don't have no ties to her in any other way. She's free to live her life without any static from me. And so that's why I don't follow her. I don't want to know. And she knows I don't want to. She also knows I'm not doing anything at all on my end, or at least she could believe that based on what's consistent about me. Not that I know if she cares or not. I don't know that even matters to her. I don't know. But I tell you, man, I want to protect her from my bull crap as it pertains to all of this. And that's another reason why I think keeping her at a distance, or allowing her to keep me at a distance without any static is the right way to go. I said all this to say I needed the Lord to step in tonight to help me understand how to think about this situation, how to view this situation, how to view my friend going forward, how to want the right things for her and myself, and how to let the enemy out of the door so that he can't come in and fill in these blanks or have me thinking things that I have no business thinking, or have me wanting more than what it is that she can give, etc. Have me viewing it as if I do have some right to what it is that she has going on in her life. Like I have a right to be jealous of anything that she does with anyone else, for which I don't feel I do, not in real life. But I tell you, man, I'm so very sensitive when it comes to this girl. It's ridiculous how sensitive I actually find myself to be. And that's what it comes down to. And I don't want to be that sensitive at all, you know. I don't find myself to be a feminine guy or a weak guy or however you would equate that, soft or nothing like that. I'm not like that. I'm not the dude that's gonna have you thinking you need to coddle my mental health or coddle my emotions. I fight those battles on my own. I don't bring those to her. I really don't. But I war with them. And that's where I want to end. I want those wars to end. I don't want to feel that way no more. If she comes back and says she has a new man or something, I want to be able to absorb that and be her friend and support her. If she tells me she wants to get married to somebody, I want to be able to show up to the wedding. And I know I'm not there. Nowhere near. It's weird when you felt strongly for somebody and you don't have anything normal attached to it. You hold on to those feelings for as long as I have. I felt this way about her since I was about 33 years old, 39 now. And I've watched her appreciation or feelings for me manifest slowly throughout that process when I always had them. They were there from the jump. Those feelings have been there and never left. From the time I was working with her all the way up to the moment I'm laying in this bed right now, I've had those deep feelings for this person. And we've gotten closer, and I've watched her go from he's a cool guy to I need you in my life and I love you very much. And the only thing I really did was consistently try to just support her whilst protecting myself from ever seeing what she's up to. Support her in the sense that I send her what I have to give, which is faith, prayer, good energy, wishes, encouragement, compliments, things of that nature. It's the lack of normalcy within myself has made it so that she's been able to gain a organic appreciation for myself without the hounding of let me see you, let's get together, let's whatever the heck how it goes. Never bring any of that to her. I never ask her where you at, where you been, who you with. I never ever. I just try to protect her from all of the sensitivity and all that crap that I really war with every time it comes around. And I always refer to her as my friend, even though I know I see her as much different. And you know it if you've been following me. I've always known my place, you know. These last couple days, all of the worst of it has been here with me, and none of what it is that I'm used to in terms of encouragement I was able to receive until this evening, where she responded, and that was cool. I think this is one of the reasons why I'd be ready to leave the earth, y'all. Because of everything I've been saying for the last 43 minutes on top of all the other problems I got. It's why I be so quick to want to get up out of here, man. Because I don't see no path to normalcy for myself in regards to that. And I don't see no way for me to end up with this person like this. And I ain't never been able to let go of these feelings since I met her. That's why it's been okay for me not to date nobody, because I've been feeling strongly about one person the whole time. I didn't need to have nobody come over. You know what I mean? I didn't need no other girls. Didn't want none. Really didn't. Just her. And it's strange because I see people cheating on one another and having trouble with their relationships and stuff like that. And like I always say, because I'm not normal in that way, I don't know what would be in my life if I were to get closer. You know what I mean? I don't even know if we would actually be that kind of compatible because of how weird I am in this way. But I could tell you what I'm used to would keep me from cheating on the woman I'm ending up with, whoever she would be. I don't believe I would ever cheat on Kay. don't believe so. Just based on my personality alone, let alone the devotion and the loyalty that I would love to see myself display. But it's just the fact that I don't really have nobody around me anyway. But I don't know if she cheat on me. I don't know. Because there's no normalcy in regards to myself and her, so I don't know how she interacts that way. I don't know anything, really. And I think I prefer it that way to protect my head, as I've probably already articulated in this video. I most appreciate that she does protect me. It's one of the reasons that I care about her as much as I do, is because she really does protect my head. She knows what not to say. She knows what not to ask. And that's a sign of a real friend, you know. That's why I try to be as successful in these inner wars that I have in regards to her. That's why. Because she makes sure that I don't feel none of the worst of things. As to where some of my other circumstances when I was in love in the past, no protection. Without getting into details, sometimes I was illustrated what it was that was going on. It crushed me, which is why I have this little complex about following Kay. I think I developed that in a previous relationship when I was told exactly what it was that was going on to break my heart. I remember I had such a bad day at work one day based on that relationship I was in that I could barely even work, but I was working that day. My ex had told me that she had went out with somebody else, etc., etc. And I ended up, at the end of the night, being consoled by comedian Guy Torrey, believe it or not. Guy Torrey. He was at ESPN that night along with some other celebrities, but he could sense how much hurt I had in my heart that day, and he sat there and listened to me talk about it too. I never forgot that. Shout out to Guy Torrey. Really helped me that night. But I tell you, that day I developed a complex for knowing the truth about people that I truly love. If they are doing something other than what it is that I would approve of, it would crush me in ways that I only relate to that. That's what my brain does, you know. I pick up certain traumas and then I try to protect myself from them, you know, in abnormal ways. And when it comes to Kay, I just don't follow her online. All I needed to see was her sitting down dining with somebody one time, and that was enough for me to be like, I can't see her with nobody else. I can't see her living her life. I want her to live it. I just need to not see it. I know I'm not present, but I just need to not be. And as long as she don't tell me what's going on, I could be alright. That's why I know I'm probably not wired to be in anything, because I'm just so sensitive, you know. But protecting of their energy in regards to that sensitivity, unlike a lot of guys who are like me in that way, they'll project that onto their girls, and it ends up turning into something domestic. It ends up turning into something toxic. Not me. No. I will protect her from my demons just like I'd want to protect her from anyone else's. That's how I'm wired. I'd sooner stop myself before I try to stop her from having a good time. Especially when I'm not providing that good time. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to stop her from nothing. I just want to make sure that I'm not involved in seeing it. It felt good to say that. I don't think I've ever said that out loud. I thank y'all for listening to this conversation, because honestly, this is not relevant for nobody, man, other than myself. I probably wouldn't even upload this if I wasn't so open with everything in regards to myself on this channel. Some stuff is too much to even share. This might have been one of those, but I just wanted people to know just how abnormal, but how pure my feelings are for my friend Kay. And I will always call her my friend, because I don't think I have a right to say anything else in regards to that. I certainly don't. So that's what I will continue to call her. But those who watch this know what it is. Those who've seen this 50-minute video thus far, they know exactly how I feel. And it's far from friendly. What I want for her is for her to find what is meant for her. And what I want for me is for me to find what is meant for me. Prayers have been prayed so many different ways in regards to this lady, which is why I think I've been able to win these inner battles in regards to her. I done prayed more prayers about her than probably anyone else. She's on the list that I pray for. She's part of the bereaved that I pray for. And I have a special prayer in regards to my heart to make sure that I'm giving my heart to God and not idolizing her in that process, since I know how I'm wired. All of those prayers have been prayed on a daily basis, more or less. So you see, whatever's going on between me and that individual is going to be blessed, regardless. I'm a devoted individual to the people that I fall for. I don't play around. But at the same time, I know that there's no normalcy to that. So I don't know what it looks like if there were normalcy, and how things would change or not change in regards to that. I don't know. But in the event I end up alone, I just wanted y'all to know why that is. In the event that I don't end up with anybody, I wanted y'all to know what that was about. I didn't need nobody else. That was pretty much the end of that. My name is BDF 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.